All right, in this video we are starting to implement the Alliance Hall. So I have set the level of the Alliance Hall to 1 now in the database, and that ungrays it here from the village overview. And basically we want to start implementing this page. And it's pretty simple initially. We will just make an alliance model and not really implement any Kage functionality for starting wars and all that. We just want to show what are the current alliances in the game between the villages. So if we go to schema within Drizzle schema.ts, we need to make a new data model for alliances. And currently we have one for village structures, so I think it makes sense to put it beneath here. And let's call our new table something like village alliance, and it's a MySQL table, village alliance. We need some fields. It needs an ID field for sure. We need a village ID, but I think this should be village A because an alliance will be between two villages. Then a village B, of course. We will want a status, and we need then to implement statuses. I like states better, but we need to implement these, and that is within this constants folder in Drizzle. So let's say our alliance states will be an array of something like neutral ally enemy, and we also export the type for this, and then we can use this here. Yep, that works. And probably we need an updated add field as well, and a created add field like that. Then we do table. We want to add some indexes to this table for sure on the two villages, and maybe also on the status, I imagine. Something like this. And finally we want to export the type for this table. So all of the Copilot is doing this because we've done this many times before at this point. So that's actually it for defining our new schema. Then we want to push it to the database, and to do that we just do make db push. And that worked out well. So now this should be in our database. So next up we want to actually do the front end here. Maybe we need one backend endpoint for actually fetching the data. So let's go to village in routers. So these are our endpoints for getting all the villages and stuff like this. And I think we will make one new endpoint, which will be quite simple. It will just be get alliances. It's going to be a public procedure because you don't really need to be logged in to do this one. And I think this endpoint will return both alliances and villages. So we'll do like this. Need to await this one. List, and then we have two queries. And I think the first one we can just reuse this one actually, so we don't have to retype that. Because yeah, it just needs the client. And basically the endpoint returns villages, which is a list of the villages, and alliances, which is a list of these new alliances we just made. So before we continue, let's just restart the container, because I feel like every time I'm reintroducing or introducing new things into the database, that's usually a good idea to just restart the app Docker container. Yeah. Okay, so next up, we need to implement this page. And I've actually been a bit annoyed at these numbers up here for the health of these different structures. So maybe let's clear that up a little bit as well. If we go to village and the pages, that's this page we're seeing here. I think I can set the show text to false. That will remove that one. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit cleaner. But we will be spending a lot of time on these pages. So now let's just implement this page and call it a day, I think. So we need to go to the one called Alliance Hall. You can see that up in the header here. That's the page name. And right now it doesn't contain a lot of stuff. So first up, we need to get the API from, we are doing this so many times that I would hope Copilot could do it. Nope. I think it's from utils API, just this. And with that, we can start fetching some data. So we do data is loading API. It's from village router, and then get alliances. Use this is the endpoint we just made for fetching all the village and alliance data, undefined because it doesn't take any inputs. And then we give it some options. We say stale time infinity. Maybe not infinity. Should be like 10 seconds maybe. So this one refetches every 10 seconds. It's probably a good idea. Let's just do like this. Okay. And then this one we can also write if it's loading or there is no data, then we show a loader for this query. And then I think we're ready to actually create something that gets shown here. Maybe we'll pull out the villages and the alliances first, just to have that a little bit easier accessible and to confirm that the types are here. So they are out here now. And because we've run these checks, we are sure they are defined. So they have loaded now. And then I guess it's now just a question of starting here. So let's make a diff first. And I think we will put this into a grid like we've done in the previous course. We'll do grid calls. How many villages do we have? I think it's 7 because we need one extra. We're doing this matrix like things. Probably wants to center everything and text center as well. We'll do like this. Let's see. Then first we need one empty element, and then I want to loop through all the villages. And let's just return a diff with the village name for now. So the idea here is we make a matrix with all of these. It's probably missing a key here. That. And then we need to figure out how we go about the next one, because we will need to loop. Oh. So we'll have to do something like this, where we loop over the village once. Let's call it village row. Yeah. And this one needs to open a new one here. But they also need keys. Let's do elements, JSX element. Oh, what's it called? Like this? I think so. And the first one will be, oh, what's going on here? The first one will be the village that we have in this outer loop. So let's do diff like we did before. with that village name. And this whole thing returns the elements. Yeah, so now we just get these, but before we return, we also want to add additional elements to kind of fill up all these columns. This one probably needs a key that says something like village row, and then that index. Can we get that on one? Let's do it like this. Nope, can't do it on one line. That's what it is. Okay, but then we need, for each row, we need to add each village as well. So let's loop through the villages again, and we do village call. I think we're on the right track here. And within this map, we don't return anything, we just add to this elements, push some Python coming in there. Oh. And for now, we'll just do a div. We'll just put in the name again. Village call name. And a key, which I think here can just be the J. So that actually looks good. And basically, here we don't want the name, we want some status. So that's pretty much what we want to do. And then I'm thinking we just need to make a component for how we show this and how we show a given status. So let's implement that. Let's make the village blocks first. So here we basically do, we can even call it village block. And that will be I like these React functional components, so we'll do that. And that will take in, let's say, a village. And maybe a user as well. User with relations. And, oh, how is it you do this? This like that. Oh yeah, and then we can destructure these immediately. And there we go. Let's see what it comes up with. Village block. This part I did wrong. That's the type of this one. So you do like this. And what else? I think I have one too much image here. Yep. And then we aren't using it right now, so it won't show anything that makes sense. But let's do status here. And then the idea is that we will use it here. So we do like this now. We do village equal to that village, and user equals to our user data. Village, can't spell. And that seems to work out. Then this component is popping up down there. And we want to do that for these elements as well. So remove this and do village equals to this one. And what was it? User data. Good. Then we just need to make something that makes a little more sense here. So all these were written by Copilot. I don't think we want them. I think here we would want something like aspect square. Isn't that what it's called? Yeah. And then we want the image for the village. Or at least let's try to see how that looks. Where are we? Here. So we need an image component. And I can't remember the source here. That would be, just go have a look where that is. Go to public, we have villages, we have current, those are the ones, yeah. So it will be villages name.png. Yes. So we will go /villages/village.name.png. That will be the source, and we will go like that. Look. Else will be the village name. Class name we don't know yet, but I'm sure we need something. Width, we'll just go with 100. Height also with 100. And perfect, we have all the villages. I do think maybe we need some padding here. That looks a little bit better. And the reason I put in the user here is I imagine we want to highlight where the given user's village is, so it's a little bit easier to get an overview here. But let's not do that yet. Or should we do that now? I guess we could also do that now. So I'm thinking something like, let's say, do we want to highlight? And it's basically if the village ID is equal to the user, that's optional, village ID, then we do I don't want to play this. Maybe we just do nothing, and if it's not equal, then we do something like opacity, like 50. And then basically add that in on this one, I guess. Oh, there's a T too much. Yeah, so now you can see all of these are kind of a little bit more, grayed out, or there's some opacity too, and the last one is not. So that, I think that'll make a good effect for highlighting which village you're part of. Now we then need to make a component for all the statuses as well. So we call this one village block. Let's call the other one alliance block. Now we can see how it's done, React FC. And I guess here we will have to take 2 villages. So we will need to take a village row, a village column, the user we still want. And then since we want to look up the alliances, we also need, that was called village alliance. We need to, wasn't this what we called this type? And that's a list of these. I think it will have imported it. Yes, perfect. Good. And we will destructure these immediately and initially just return something dumb. And basically the idea is we plug it in here, and then we just need to give it alliances and to give it village row, village call, away with all this, and close this one. And that failed completely. Maybe it's because it doesn't have a div here. Yeah, so that looks good. Good, but at least it's working as intended. So now let's figure out how to actually put the right status in here. I think we will do an initial status, which would be, let's do a let and then just update that. So we say if village row ID is equal to the column ID, so basically between a village and itself, it's always an ally, and otherwise it defaults to neutral. Oh, how do I want to play that? Maybe we should type this. So we go here and say, what was that type we exported here? Alliance state. align state. And then this will have to be ally and neutral, something like that. So we're sure we get a valid state always. And it's complaining because we're not reassigning, but we will eventually. So next up, we want to check alliances. And basically here, we need to find a given alliance. And right now the table is empty, so it's not sure it will find anything. Let's see if Copilot is able to do this. So it goes alliance, village ID A is equal to village row ID and village ID B. I would wish this could be on one line. Maybe if we just call this one A like this instead. So if for a given alliance A is equal to row and B is equal to col, or A is equal to col or B is equal to row. So basically if does this make sense? Yeah, so this is basically looking up any alliances between any two villages. That is perfect. And here we want to do B. Nope. Still A for call or ID B for row. Yes. And then we basically say if alliance, then we set the status to that alliance status. And why does it not like that? State status. This should be okay, I think. Yeah. Then we just need to use it somewhere. So how do we want to highlight this stuff? I think we will do backgrounds on each of these boxes. So we'll do something like box background based on status. We'll let the default background be gray 300, so just a default gray background. And then if the status is ally, we set it to green. If the status is enemy, we set it to red. Exactly. Copilot is a wonderful thing. And then let's improve. Let's do the status here first off. Now we have the right statuses. We will need to do this capitalize first letter. Why? Oh, it's not imported. Find somewhere where we import it. It is imported. Just need a refresh. Perfect. That's just to not have it capitalized, all of it. Then for this div, we will have to do some class name here. And I think we need aspect square again. Oh, then we need to put this background in there for sure. That looks decent. Then can we item center here? Yeah, then we need to flex, of course. Flex. Justify center as well to get it in the center. Probably a font bold. I think we also want to do some border. This looks all right, but I think we need to gray out all the ones as well here. So how do we do that? I think we need to highlight again. Let's call this doesn't look like. So let's first do a variable saying something like do highlight. How do we get this on one line? Something like that. And then highlight is basically something we do. If not do highlight, double negatives. So basically if highlight, we don't do anything, otherwise we do opacity. And we add this one down here. Let's see how that looks. Let's type something. This is optional. We are not doing that well here. Seems like it's graying out everything right now to me. Oh, this has to be something. So if this is not set, we just give it an empty string. Isn't that what it's complaining about? Yeah, I think this will go away. So why is it? Why is it giving opacity to all of them right now? Highlight do nothing, otherwise let's just try turning this up to... Yeah, it's definitely doing it to everything. So maybe it's because we forgot to put in something up here. We haven't put in the user. That makes sense. So now it's better. That is what I wanted. And this is a bit too aggressive. Maybe we'll do 50. I think that's all right. Light better. A little bit maybe. Yeah. So I don't... Can we do anything better here? Seems like a little bit of misalignment there. So do we need to pad somewhere? Maybe it's all right. But it's difficult to know which one of these belong to which village. So maybe we should fix up that and basically print the village above. I'm guessing if we just print the village above these ones, it should be fine, because then you basically know this is my village and you can, or you know, yeah, and then you can check all the other ones. So that should be fine. So let's do that here. Then what we need to do now is, I guess, have a div wrapper. I am not afraid of putting in lots of divs, and we need to move the key up there. And P, and here we will say this is our village name. Pop up there, and we have already text centered, so that's nice. Class name. Make it bold. Give it maybe some padding to the top. That's too much, just one. Maybe reduce the padding to the image. That means this one we can do PG0. A little bit better, I think. That moves them all up. Not so good, actually. Maybe this is fine. I think it's at least a good start. And let's just see how the enemy color looks. So right now we have 300 here. Maybe we'll do 500. 300 was actually pretty good. Let's try doing a red one. Oh, that's not where I should do it. Oh. Jumping around. Where was it? Here. Enemy, it should be red. What I basically want to do now is, if I change the default to enemy. Yeah. That one maybe be 500. 400. 400 is fine now. Align. And what's up here? I think those are just they want to have type here. Type, and this one as well, type. Then let's put them all down at the bottom. This one React up to the top, this type down to the bottom. Good, I think that's it for at least the initial version of the Alliance page. So not really a lot to test here, so I will commit it and then it should be live in a few minutes. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.